testing our broadband. We're probably live, guys. How you guys doing?
Hi.
We'll pull up
Hold
the
on
chat in a second.
Let me refresh.
I hope you guys are excited about the title. This should be a pretty good conversation.
We had a long conversation about making the title.
Yeah, we already talked about it. Like
For
45
over an hour,
minutes.
We've been talking about what should we call it. There it is.
Yeah.
We're live.
All right. So let me go and edit the thumbnail real quick,
He's
guys.
going to go edit the thumbnail real quick. He's not going to let me grab the chat so I can talk to you folks.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, no, he's going to go fix what he wants to do.
The thumbnail first? Well,
This
'cause
might
I
be
know where
part
it
back
is.
to what our conversation was about.
Okay. Why are you not happy?
Right, there we go. There. He's figured it out. He's figured it
I
out.
love
Neither
it.
is everybody else. I can't see who's online with us yet. I haven't been able to say hi to anybody. We could have
Sorry.
15 people sitting here saying, hey, you guys, why aren't you talking to us? Why are you ignoring us? Because he's trying to fix the thumbnail, which you've all passed behind you now because you're in the live, not staring at
this
the
makes me
thumbnail.
happy, though.
Yeah, he's having a great time. He loves making everybody wait for him.
Oh, no. Where's the first cup?
First cup? Find it.
Oh,
There's one, but that's not the one you want.
No.
He only has about 3,000 thumbnails to choose from right here.
I gotta clean up my thumbnail folder. All right.
There you go.
Okay. Now Wayne can pull up the chat.
Now it has to refresh.
Okay, so the title again. What is happiness? Is happiness real? What does it mean to a human being?
Where is it?
I thought it would be a pretty good conversation.
There it goes.
There it is.
Now we're here. You already hit save. How do we get to the live chat? Start another one?
Oh, yeah.
We'll just
We
start
haven't done this in a while,
It's
guys.
been a long time, folks. Please be patient.
We are out of habit of doing this. Shame on us.
No
But
clue what we're doing.
that's what coronavirus will do.
Is it?
Well, it's what it did.
You need to make sure we get onto the infinite MUAHS connection. Now we're not using the. We're now using the broadband for multiple purposes, which is just going to slow us down more.
All right. Now we can pop out the chat.
Yep.
We gotta mute this. No. Hey.
Hey, there we go. Anybody here? Oh, I see
Joe's
a couple
here.
folks.
Andy's here.
Hi, Andy.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Joe Arcade. All right, we'll let you pop up the chat.
I wasn't sure.
Bring it
if
up
I'm-
onto that screen
Yeah,
up there.
I got you. Yeah. I wasn't sure if Joe would be up or not.
Well,
He is.
he is.
Okay.
Joe Arcade wins.
So, yeah, I wanted to do this because
Excuse me,
I was curious. Hi, Cammy.
Cammy. You need to make it larger.
So, you want, okay. So, yeah, I was thinking that, okay, well, let's talk about happiness.
Maximize.
I'll let you do it. There's a lot to uncover because I first brought up Wayne because I was like, well, if you're happy, then you're not miserable, right? And usually when you're miserable is when you learn the most. Weirdly, when you're happy is when you get the most serotonin and, dopamine, and you get all the good stuff, chemicals happening. So,
Your room looks bare. Yeah, we're in the living room.
we're actually in the living room, and it is kind of bare. Like, I usually have more stuff, but it's just how we're also cropped. It makes it look bare.
Okay, Drew Food says there is no happiness already. We got one. We got
Right.
a vote.
Gone with the
wind.
wind.
Hi, Wayne and James. Still got it. There's always
Nice.
penis, says Andrew.
All right.
Cammy Blue on the move. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Hi,
same
Cammy.
here.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, so again, so happiness, and like I said, it provides this weird chemical thing in us, but it's not the time we learn. And so,
Hope you haven't let James have any sugar today.
oh yeah.
He's not too bright. He's not too hyper right now.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh, I see. Drew Foods.
Oh, that's bad.
Happiness
Did
is
a
hard
bump.
to find,
But a bum. All right. So, yeah.
Evil.
Well, again,
I'm gonna get rid of this other window.
we were talking about happiness too in communicating, because during the conversation we had before we went live, I made a
Don't know what it's saying.
Yeah, no. In other words, I was like, in other words, I gave you an example, and I said, "Oh, you don't look good in that shirt. You should change it."
That was truth versus kindness.
We were talking about truth versus kindness.
Honesty.
We were weighing
Honesty
right,
versus
honesty,
kindness.
right? Being honest or being kind.
How being too honest or brutally honest.
So he took it like I was talking about him, but weirdly in my head, I was talking about somebody else and imagining somebody else. So how communication happens. In other words, how you receive information from a communication is personal.
Well,
so I guess it all depends on the scale within the person of how much happiness they need to tilt to be happy, to be even, or to take it the other way and be offended by it.
Sure. Oh yeah, you can definitely offend somebody by trying to compliment them accidentally.
Nola fam. Oh, you finished? I wasn't sure if you finished. Right before going live, I went on and I saw you were still playing, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna bump into him, but that's awesome. Nice to see you.
Drew's still with the good and happy and hard happy.
So again, true happiness.
Happiness is your tolerance for debt.
Wow. Now again, I think happiness is, we were talking about that, is tolerating. Like, in other words, you want to have your side of the story, you want to have somebody else's side of the story, and you want to be okay with both sides. Even though you might not like everything, you know, but
you may not agree with both sides.
Right. And so when he says
I don't know
debt,
if I agree fully
tolerance
with
to
that
debt, I look at that as like
Hey,
tolerance
you!
to an outside view of
What
yourself.
Is it happiness or adrenaline? No
Well,
text alert. Chopped
again-
liver. Oh yeah. Well, you know what can I say?
Well, if
We had a long
happiness,
conversation before the live just to get this far.
if happiness releases dopamine and all these chemicals in your head, which are kind of addictive, then and what happens when you're like struggling with a problem? So if you're struggling, what chemicals are released? I'm curious about that now. Because the happy drugs seem addicting. Are the negative ones addicting too? We got to get Wayne on Google. Like, this is where you need to be on the computer researching everything that I'm saying. Hi, David.
Right. I could do that when I was
Eric.
off camera. Lots of people can tell you an idea. Dave thinks he's Brussels sprouts and not chopped liver.
Happiness is about people you have around you. But again,
Dave says hello.
that's actually a very true statement, Cammy, because, well, scientifically.
Happiness is a warm kitten.
Because they say that if every 8 people around you, it all depends on how many, and those 8, and it goes out to, I think, 6 different generations, right?
Iterations, perhaps?
Well, yeah, I don't know what you'd call the different 8 circles.
Iteration.
Right. So you could have a friend that's miserable, or they're not even miserable, but they have miserable friends, and it actually affects you. So the big, and again, this is where kind of working
You mean
with
I'm
the village.
ruining the lives of 144 people just because of what I am? I'm kidding.
Sun City, nice to see you. So the thing though is that how much in other words, to work as a social group, why that actually would increase happiness. And then we were talking about like people that like, why does greed
we're
outweigh
all relying
happiness?
on you guys to make us happy here.
Greed and happiness is something else we'll tackle later on in this one. I want
Happiness is the realm of content about everything is around your realm.
Really?
Which is very much what you were saying. No, it was the happiness is
Yeah.
being able to accept that all that there is meant to be, needs to be there. You have to embrace everything
But like,
in order to truly be happy with what's going
and
on.
again, that becomes really like, in other words,
It's challenging.
you have to challenge yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have to say to yourself that, okay,
Because
I don't agree that like
Don't go
certain
extreme.
countries don't let women vote. I don't like that. But I'm not sure if I'm the one to say you can't have it. It's not me. It
makes you happy. Hey,
it's tough. It's tough. And then Wayne was saying, well, if someone from there said, hey, but I do want that power. Well, then they should have that power then. In other words, if they want it, have it. If you don't, don't. Like, no one should be controlling anybody else's.
Oh yeah, good luck trying to pull that off. Yeah, we're all just going to give up those, powers and whatnot that we have.
Okay, so I got a curious question
What
for
question
everybody.
do you have?
What is everybody's happiest? Think of a happy food and type it in. A happy, what you would have to say, okay, if I had to write a word happy and food.
Hey, you just summarized what you were saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Anjuna, Eric,
Yep.
sees it as a...
Because everything around you is good and positive, though, during the year. So, okay,
Interesting
so...
that you have threshold, so you see as a
Well, and I'm curious about... So
anarchist.
What if I'm happy because I am working out a problem that's driving me crazy? So that doesn't make me happy, but I'm happy that I'm working out the equation. I'm working out the problem. I'm working out an issue. That makes me happy. Having to deal with it doesn't.
You like having it done.
What?
You like it after. Okay, so there are two different problems in the universe. Here's the answer. There are two different types of problems in the universe.
Fried PB&J.
The impossible and the trivial. A problem is impossible until you figure it out, and then it becomes trivial. So and we can apply that to happiness. Achieving happiness will be impossible until you figure it out, and then it'll become trivial.
Hey, you says I need a microphone. They all need a microphone because this is totally a group conversation.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
So tacos, we got sushi, cheeseburger.
Food
PB&J
is a wonderful boost of happiness.
Definitely because it's a childhood memory, I guess. PB&J is a very childhood, so I can see that definitely. Sushi, I can see is happy because it's clean.
A juicy steak.
Yeah, cheeseburger. Yep.
Food has a big effect, but
mac and cheese,
that's the chemical reaction of happiness too. When you eat, your body rewards you with saying, "Oh, you're doing something for your survival. That's good."
This is what I wanted to check: is how much salty, sugary, fatty things did people list? That's what I wanted to see, because that is what we all. This is why Burger King is Burger King and McDonald's is McDonald's, is because we all have it in our chemical things that when we eat that. Oh yeah, our brain says, "Boop, boop, boop, boop,
thank
nice,
you so much. This is
nice
good stuff."
right?"
Thank you very
So
much.
sushi was the only counter, but I could understand that being happy because of how clean it is. It does make you feel good. It's very easy to eat, makes you feel good.
I don't like sushi.
Oh,
It's
you
not.
don't?
See, that wouldn't make me happy.
Wow. Okay. So again, something that would make me happy would make Cammie happy. I think it was Cammie happy. For some reason, wouldn't make somebody else happy. And that's what we all have to be okay with. This is, again, weirdly,
Authentic.
if we go into politics, right and left and all that, get rid of the classifications, man, and just start working together. This is bullcrap that they have, we as a society built into our system of having to choose, because it makes happiness go away so much faster when I have to choose one or the other. If I have to choose one or the other, 50% of the time I'm going to be unhappy. But if I get to accept both, that could potentially be a lot more happiness. Okay, I want to read what happiness is a soft blanket. Texture. Well, again, if I said happiness, what texture would you write in for happiness? I think everybody's going to write the same one.
Why didn't you set up
What's
a Zoom
the texture?
That's what
happy music is another one.
What is your happy music? Okay, here's a long one from Fantastic. Wait, we got to read it.
I'm reading. Correct. Yeah. Again, this is where, when we start saying and labeling things good and bad, I don't think it's good and bad. Again, food can be good, food can be bad for certain people. I mean, ultimately, food is good. You just got to know more about it, and the more you know about it, the more then you can adjust to eating properly, and
None of those are unnecessary.
I gotta go back
but
up
they could
because I want
definitely
to
use
read.
modifications, Dave.
I want to read one of the things up there.
Oh no, it's scrolling back.
Yep, I'm going back.
We're going back in
Hey.
time.
Wait. Oh, there it is. I'm pressing the wrong thing.
Well, don't.
Okay. Yeah, Eric, definitely. And yeah, if everybody wrote a texture, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we have
Because
soft blankets.
right,
We've
soft,
had
comfy, soft pillow.
soft
No one's
pillows,
going to say a
the blanket.
porcupine. If I said
Well,
what
how many
texture,
little kids had a happy experience with a porcupine that you've known?
No. What I'm saying is that weirdly texture, we have more bias naturally on texture than we do on like food. Even though our food bias is definitely salt, fatty, sugary. That's our food bias. When it comes to texture, no, we like smooth. Like no one finds a prickly blanket comforting. Though, you know what's really weird? I found out a lot of people use weighted blankets now.
Weighted blanket.
And the weighted blanket, it makes you
calms you down.
Sleep. Yeah.
People use it when they go to the dentist a lot. You can go to the dentist and ask them to leave the
the
lead thing on you, the apron thing on you,
but
while
people
you're
use
doing the work because the weight of the blanket helps calm you.
It really
And it's a known phenomenon, yes.
I don't
If
know
you
if
get
I like
nervous
that.
going to the dentist, ask them to leave the
I don't
drape the apron that they use for x-rays over you during the procedure. It'll help you calm down. Oh, missed a whole bunch.
Yeah, I'm reading them now. Oh, gumbo. Yeah. Again, one of those comforting things that Nola Dad definitely grew up with, and so he has. Like, I bet you Nola Dad, right? Nola Fam Arcade. If anybody doesn't know.
So, Hey You had a good experience with a porcupine when she was a kid.
But the recipe, is it his mother's recipe that he still makes? You know, because that's how some recipes go for me still.
Fantastic Rick lives through texture.
Oh,
like many people,
yeah.
don't you all rely more on sight?
Wow.
Sight can sometimes misconcept texture.
So
you need to confirm it. We all live with texture as well. This is part of why the Corona thing, because we all touch everything, and so yeah, we all get texture.
Yeah, but at the same time, like her texture is probably heightened, and so she might not think rough is a bad thing. She just knows it is rough.
Who?
Wit, because she has eye.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But she would therefore be more accurate in her touch. So rough would be
wicked rough.
And smooth, you could tell the difference in smoothness. If we'd all say it's the same, she's like, no. One of them has a slightly better weave because
he went to school for physics. I should have.
Because your dentist likes them too. Hey, You lives through scent.
Oh yeah. Okay. So like a cooling effect too is definitely like I think people would rather be cool than warm. See, that's another thing. Is that what happiness? What's your happy temperature, guys? What do you guys all set your house at?
Oh, my head.
Now I'm curious. I'm curious on like because all this stuff is like brings us happiness, but we never really think about. Oh, I'm going to turn up the temperature because it's going to make me happy. But that's basically what you're doing. And then why did you even think that? Like what's going on? Again.
Nola Fam has an interesting comment.
Okay, I can't handle the texture of vegetables. If I want to eat a vegetable, then I will eat the animal that eats the vegetable. Okay. Oh, that brings up something really good. And yeah, so again, for health-wise, I try to do, I guess, mostly chicken, but I'd rather do fish.
Mostly vegetables.
I do mostly vegetables, and then I still have my meat, though. I do. I like my meat.
More than 70% of our diet should be vegetable.
And I cook a mean steak. I really do. I can take a crappy piece of meat and make it taste good. Ask him.
I don't know anything about that.
And that makes me happy, and it makes him happy, which makes me happy.
I do love eating good food. There's no question there.
That is a big thing, too, is that happiness usually comes in the service of somebody else. So, like, Wayne is going to replace his kitchen sink faucet. And so he's like, hey, come over Friday and help me out because I know when we work together, it works out awesome. And it's like, good. And like, it's like, well, I'm doing it because it makes me happy, but it's also just helping them. But it makes me happy to help.
No helping. It's good to be helpful. It's no having fun. That's right. Wrong thing.
68, 86 in the
They're
summer,
telling you the
66 in the winter.
temperatures that they like.
Yeah. Because I'm kind of like that too. I used to keep my house. How hot did I used to keep it? 80?
Not below 78.
Yeah.
If it got below 78, you'd be like, boy, it's cold.
Arcade. What's up? So, yeah, temperature though now, I like it 72, 74. It's good temperature.
Yeah. My son Andy likes it 68 degrees.
Everyone's thinking, okay, shrimp scampi. Oh!
And colder in the wintertime when it's nighttime. They get angry at me if I try to turn this thermostat up above 62 in the evening because they want it cold when they sleep.
Well, and again, for me, mine changed as I got older. Like I'm creeping up on 50 here, and so
creeping up. I would say it's
shush. So yeah, so that really recently I'm like, oh crap, like I gotta think myself
geriatric problems that we run into.
Oh, it's crazy. Which doesn't make me happy. Now, why doesn't it though?
Well,
that's
better than the alternative.
Yeah, but is it just a social conditioning? Like we've all agreed on, like that's how you should feel. Like
what?
In other words, you would think the older we get, the more celebrated everything would be because
we're still here.
Right.
Still at it.
Right.
Right. But instead, because the same thing that causes problems with so many other things, we humans have memory, so we can remember what it was like. We can, and of course, we see the younger generation doing what we used to do and can't do anymore because we're old folks and just can't keep up with that young crowd today. And we remember
the sun went down.
The sun is going down. So
right. The shadow. Did you see the shadow happen?
Oh, it's coming back.
Yeah.
When only
All
we
right.
had a cloud.
Continue. What were you saying?
Sun's not going to go down for another hour or two.
I'll be back.
He's run off, leaving me alone to talk about happy.
Does that make you happy?
Right, but you were talking about aging. And yeah, celebrate it, because you're still here, you're still going at it. And I could read the thing. Shrimp scampi is one of my favorite foods, yes. Drew Foods, I'm putting a locking cover so you can't touch the thermostat. There's on about temperature still.
Good idea.
Fantastic lives with her mom who keeps it at the low 60s as well. Low 60s. Put a tent in the backyard, they can sleep out there in the winter. They've asked if they could. And humans remember way too much. Way too much. We learn that's what our greatest strengths are also the greatest things, challenges sometimes. No question.
I think Eric asked a question earlier.
No questions. What is this?
What music makes you happy?
What music makes you happy? Bum, bum, bum,
I guess what's the happiest song you know?
Right. Is it a sad love song? Is it a regretful song? Yesterday. You have all those ones that pull the emotions up out of you. Is it a banner being everyone's having a good time? No one's saying anything.
No, I'm curious though. Because I was thinking
yes.
Trees are green, red roses too.
I sing you can't sing too much of it.
Well, so it's a wonderful, right?
Very wise words.
Yeah, it's a wonderful world is what it's called.
Most likely.
And it's kind of like, I guess it's not a sad song, but it sounds sad.
Drew is still on about people touching
Toby Keith's American Ride. I gotta look that one up now. I do it live, but
we can
yeah, but with copyright. Well, the minute the song.
Oh yeah, if it was a true song, yeah. Bang! Oh no.
Yeah, it takes about 5 seconds, and YouTube's like, nope, don't do that.
Can you hum a few bars for us, Gone with the Wind?
Yeah. Oh man. So
excuse me for a moment.
Again, happiness is such a weird thing because it's like we're almost sold on it, right? We're sold like that's the end all be all. And I'm just not convinced that that's true. I think there is happiness in sadness. Again, you got to work through it. I guess, I don't know, would it be weird to have a world that's too easy? Like, would everybody like a world that's really easy and just flows perfectly? I mean, I'm not sure what our goals would be. I'm not sure what the drive, what drive do we have? No, Ladad, that shouldn't count because your Beat Saber is plugging that game system. It's just plugging the game. So I have no idea why. If it's in a game and you're playing it and that's your channel, then so be it. It's like the same thing like DJ. B. Wells is a DJ, but he can't play music on his stream. He can play it anywhere else, but he can't play it on his stream. It's just weird. Like once you pay, I think you have to pay to be a DJ. He has to pay for that music. So once you pay for it, it should be yours to use. You can't call it yours, but you can still use it. So yeah, that's a weird thing.
However, I believe that
interesting
radio station
food for
has
thought.
its own licensing, whereas YouTube does not have that same licensing for broadcasting copywritten stuff.
Yeah.
Because the DJ is there deliberately putting on the radio music that somebody else has performed. And now, up next, we're going to have Huey Lewis doing whatever, so on and so forth. And it's a different whole setup. YouTube is the individual's posting of their home videos. It started off very, your own stuff.
Yeah, actually, because I remember before YouTube was YouTube. I mean, it was YouTube, but it was
That's
not.
because he's almost 50. Which means he's been around for a long time.
Happiness is overrated. I'd rather be grumpy. He was the coolest dwarf of the seven.
Do not share that opinion.
Now, again, I think it does. I think it is interesting that, if everything went smoothly, what would we have to gear ourselves towards? Again, going back to the money thing that we were talking about earlier, and why greedy people, in other words, this is how the conversation kind of started. Was I was explaining, in other words, why are corporations treating humans as commodity, and yet us humans made laws making the corporation a person. So the corporation has the same rights as a person, but treats people as a commodity. And then how does, when that happens, how does it become that greed overpowers the human instinct to help each other? Happiness. How does that greed
This conversation
somehow
started long
overcome
before that.
the happiness part?
No, 'cause it had to
It's
do with-
counterintuitive.
It had to go, we were talking about instinctual versus learning. Again, back to this magnificent brain the human has to be able to intellectualize everything, such that we can override our instincts.
And we are overriding.
The taking care of community, being a member of community and taking care of family is all based on the mammalian brain instinct. All the little mammals feel love and feel the connection and like to be petted and like to be loved and so on and so forth. That's a mammalian thing we all share.
Mm-hmm.
We, of course, have the upper brain and beyond that into that sentient thing. And that is so strong, it can override instincts on the lower brains. We can put ourselves at risk to try to help somebody else. People put themselves at physical risk, harm, for fun, jumping off of things and whatnot. But the biggest example, of course, is firefighters. We go running into building areas to put them out and control the situation rather than just let it run away and let it burn, which all the animals do. But humans will run into it. We can override our instinct.
That got us far, huh?
Yes. Oh, it's helped a lot. It also, again,
got
our
us far.
strongest abilities are often our biggest challenges. The greed is a learned thing, or intellectualized, that the money is the goal. And you can let that override your instinct to be, to be communal and share it out.
And again, this is
all work together.
This is where I got into happiness and social laws. In other words, social laws don't necessarily make everybody happy because they exclude a certain part of the society. Yet, how extreme do you go? Who am I to say? Can I judge somebody for wanting to go rob a bank? If you want to rob a bank, should it be illegal?
But I mean,
right?
the thing
Because
is,
it's what they want to do.
what do you warn somebody about against robbing a bank? What's the big thing you'd say? Don't do that. You'll get caught. It's not a judgment of whether it's the right thing to do or not. It's what the consequence.
Right.
What's going to happen.
And that's what I'm saying. Right.
So therefore, you're not. It's not like you're judging.
I guess the question I would probably ask the person is like, well, why do you need the money? Like, is there a different way we can do this?
Because of the difficulty of pulling of that means, you would offer some other means.
Well, again, if it's like, well, I need it for another opportunity, well, then why not provide them the extra opportunity so they don't even have to go that route? But yeah, again, this is trying to make everybody happy, and is that even possible? Taff, how you doing, Tony? Nice to see you. Mwah.
Doesn't matter what.
It's been a while since I've been. Yeah. No, this is great. I know. It's like, okay, so I wanted to start kind of going back to, the original kind of format that we were doing, just to get me, because I'm not used to going out, and my agoraphobia is like back up there. So I got to start going to the arcade, start
doing lives.
Yeah.
Start interacting, talk to the people here.
Getting back to doing this
if you
stuff
rob the bank,
regularly.
you're being selfish.
Right.
You was on selflessness versus selfishness. Sure.
Right.
The fantastic wit is
now.
on.
Are you being selfish though? If you have another opportunity, if there's another opportunity to do something, but say that was your what in your small mind, at least at the time, because you've been, backed into a corner, that's your only opportunity. If no one is going to give you a bank loan, then how are you supposed to
achieve this goal?
Achieve it, right? And so
you're searching for the means.
I think
and
being selfish
and probably believing that the ends justifies the means.
Well, and this is where so it comes for me. This is weird because it comes to me
fantastic way.
For stealing, right? In other words, if I'm starving, right, and I steal an apple from a grocery store, is it stealing? No. If I'm stealing 20 bags of apples and then going to sell them, that's stealing. If I'm stealing 20 bags of apples, but I jar them and I store them so they last a year, I don't think that's stealing.
Yeah, but the store can't stay in business if everybody just takes the food without paying for it.
Yeah, but that's okay. But
I mean, there has to be, the reason about money is that it has to be a medium of exchange. We have to be able to track so that everybody feels like they're getting a fair deal and not just giving away everything, because you like to receive as well. So that's where the medium of exchange comes in. Yeah, unfortunately, we made a mistake of letting the medium of exchange become the goal of the game as well.
You're not, if you're starving and you cannot pay for an apple and you steal one, it's not stealing because you're starving and you can't pay. What you're saying is that, yes, if you're at this bracket and you can buy a house and you can buy a car and you can do all that stuff, right? Yeah, that's where you are. But a lot of people are not in that position. And so, again, I mean, it's just trying to.
I don't recall saying anything about buying a house.
No. All I'm saying is that you can. There's certain people, like you're saying, that people that can afford an apple, right, are going to say, hey, you need to pay for the apple because we all are paying for the apple. But you can afford it. You're talking to somebody that can't afford it. It's not stealing. It actually should be our duty to provide the apples for the people that can't eat apples. And again, what it is,
which is what I said.
Provide, and I don't want a freebie. What it is that I want to provide opportunity so that they can get the loan that everybody else gets.
Okay.
You got to
We've
provide
all like to have
opportunity.
some kind of better systems.
Well,
in many different
opportunity.
ways, yes.
I think opportunity will provide happiness. That's where I'm getting at with the happiness part. Yeah, it's tough. Money is always tough. Wayne and I will have these deep conversations about. In other words, if we wrote the program for the world and how to distribute the food, right, that we probably wouldn't even have to make as much food as we do now because we trash a lot of our food. So, and we also make a lot of bad food, like overly processed.
And I have my own theories on that too. Hey, you will sweep the floor if we give her an apple.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Some people though, Tony, even, you gotta admit, some people are just in a spot that they're like, oh, I couldn't ask, but, or maybe they're in a position like, hey, I shouldn't have to ask. I'm not sure. Again, this is where we were talking about happiness and how, like, I think a lot of it has to do with being able to have more than your point of view. You need to be able to have other people's point of opposite of your own, and say that that's okay to have, even though I don't understand it. I'm not buying into it. Well, again, will I support it? I guess I would have to if I really am genuine.
I think we could go in some circumstances that you would have a very difficult time saying that to.
Well, and that's the
where
thing.
you'd be saying, I think you need to have support in a different way. Let's go talk to this doctor over here.
Well, I kind of did it with the example of stealing from a bank, or just asking somebody like, "Oh, can you help me create
Which people
a
have just
GoFundMe?"
been talking about
Right,
different
exactly.
scenarios.
Exactly.
That happens.
Yeah.
And I like Dave Gelino's. I'll gladly pay you Thursday for a hamburger today.
That was Wimpy?
Yes.
Yeah. Holy crap.
So, tap
Now I
things,
want to sing it. But now I
knowing the
wanna get
different
copyright.
options available will help increase the likelihood of happiness. So he's seen happiness as
Yeah.
a goal, an achievement. Oh yeah, and being afraid of people saying no and having too much pride can prevent asking the same things.
Right.
Impede happiness.
Well, correct.
Again,
Correct.
our intellect overriding our instinct. It's instinctual.
Well, and thinking it has to be one way. See, this is the scoop. It has to be good or bad. It's like something good can't be bad, something bad can't be good. But no, it can.
A lot of us
much
get
more
out of that
open.
black and white thinking by the time we're 25.
Well, no, but that in certain
Oh, but
circumstances
not
we
with
have
that
little
whole ego thing of not wanting to ask directions. I can't. I either know it.
Well, and things that we were taught that we haven't even figured out, that we are regurgitating instead of choosing that thought. We're regurgitating. From
there is
so
that.
you're
There's
caught in
a
that.
lot of that.
Exact same conversation this morning. No way.
What's this? So
Tony and his wife had this exact same conversation
Jen and I
this
had the
morning.
exact conversation this
That's funny.
Right.
Yeah, where's the gray?
The gray?
Well, I think that's the scoop. Is if you can think of it in all gray.
Don't expect to see the shining.
Yeah, I mean.
Or the completely dark.
Right. It's yeah. To me, I find a lot of peace and happiness in the gray. I really do. I like that. I like not being able to know everything, even though I'd love to know everything. I like not being able to.
But
in
it's
other words,
an unachievable.
Well, there's
goal,
something about
which is great.
There's something about that flaw of being a human that's very
Jelly
comforting.
Duck has arrived.
Hi, Jelly Duck.
Fantastic Quick agrees it's not all black and white. Taft
It is a great
agrees
song. Yeah, no.
that people are afraid of striding into the gray areas between good and bad. Yes, they are.
Now I got the song in my head.
What song?
I can't sing it. The Black and White song by Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Nice. Cool, Joe.
That's cool. Keep working, Joe.
Okay, I have no idea what time we went on. What time did we go
soon
on?
after 3. Our time, ESG.
Okay, so we did talk about
according to
what
AU's clock. We haven't even started.
What foods are happy? What music's happy? What textures are happy? What other scents do we have? Scents. Oh, smell. Oh, what smell would be happy?
There's a lot of
Whoa,
smells.
that's a
There's
weird
big
one.
No, that's a
No,
big one.
yeah, but that's a weird one because someone might find, like, I'm attracted to smelly armpits.
Okay.
Right? Well,
why
that makes them.
We've already talked about the fact that happiness takes on different
What I'm saying
forms
is,
for different
what's
people.
weird is that, okay, you guys all answer. What smell, if you had to write smell and then what smell is happy, write it down.
And Fantastic Work says we started 39 minutes ago.
Okay, thank you. And because I'm curious on the smell thing, like that's another very diverse. Like what one person's going to think is happy is going to be different than another person of happy. And all we're thinking about is happy smells. But watch how different people are in their responses. That's the scoop, is that that's why, what is happiness? It's different from me to you, but is it? Like, or is it we were taught how to relate whatever feeling we have to that particular thing, and then that's why.
It makes you happy.
So it's almost like whatever you're bio-linked to. So whatever you imprinted your first this? What have you imprinted your first this?
Oh, very
what have
often.
you imprinted is what then you're defining, and then what was reinforced. So in your immediate family growing up, but then in your societal. So, but is that what happy? Is that what is happy? That's
we have all of a sudden several answers at once, and I've lost track of them.
Okay.
I gotta go back up.
Okay.
Scroll back up there.
We're gonna read these guys. Okay, let's go. You want to read them from the first?
I can't get it.
No, it's the little gray bar. I keep on messing it up too.
I keep messing it up.
No, it looks. I know. It makes it look like the other one.
It's not all black and white. Started 39 minutes ago. Dave and I have had this conversation.
Skunk. Wait, skunk right there. You have people like me who grew up in the country and find the smell of skunk nostalgic. Okay, so that is one weird thing. Like, a skunk does
nostalgic.
stink.
Yeah, because it reminds you of being a kid.
Yeah, there's something about a skunk smell.
It's also so sweet that it's
Stale beer and cigarette smoke reminds me of hanging out in the bars. Yes.
Playing pool.
And Lysol spray reminds me of falling on the floor of the elementary school. Actually, it's that gross bucket that the janitor would have that they probably didn't change that day. Gross. And it would just smell like, I think bleach was a big one.
White spray and gas.
Yep.
Make me happy.
Gas is another one.
Example of me playing.
No, and weirdly, isn't... Oh no, the smell of natural gas is man-made. Like, we gave it that smell.
Yes,
because we
natural
needed
gas.
it. But gasoline is another one. That's funny. That's a good... Because, I mean, what was I thinking about happiness smell? The first thing that happened to, like, in my head was a rose, but I'm like, I hate rose smell.
So how about fresh mown grass? How about the smell of the lawn an hour after it's been mowed?
No, but I understand their deep, like, scent things that they're talking about.
Dryer sheets make me happy for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. Dryer sheets, me too. Like
the smell off the road right when the rain starts.
Oh, the smell. Yeah, the heat. You know the heat smell off the road?
Yeah. Particularly when the rain's starting, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Arriving at the beach and getting that first wind in your face of the smell of the ocean. That's a good, happy smell. There are lots of smells. And here's a big one. The smell of baking bread. Walking into that fresh bread out of the oven.
Bread is a good one.
Is a good one. It gets right in there. So he's happy when he smells his own gas.
Oh, man.
Okay, these are trails from Drew.
Bread is a good one. I think bread is like, well, for
ancient.
me.
I mean,
well, and again, I grew up with the smell of that, so I'm thinking, wow, that's a good one.
You know, so on and so forth.
So, yeah. And again, I think a lot of these profoundly have deep, like, they have very unique smells, all these things. That's the thing, is that it's not a very common, like, grass mowing. It's a very uncommon, like, you know, like, even though we buy gasoline all the time and stuff, but the smell of gas is, there's just a particular smell, and when you smell it, you know it. Same with a skunk, you smell it, you know it. Same with dryer sheets, you smell it, you know it.
Well, that's the same with almost every smell you've ever had. Smell is the most closely linked to memory there is. You can smell anything and know what it is, unless you've never smelled it, of course, and then you identify it. But then from then on, you'll know what it is, where you smelled it first.
Yes. Yeah, well, just my grandmother's house had a particular smell. Like, an old French person's house, trust me, if you've ever gone to an old French person's house, you'll know what I mean. It just has a weird smell. It's like, I don't understand what it is.
God, Tony went on about farts. I didn't repeat that.
Oh, man. Okay.
He wants to talk about a game he wants to make.
Well, yeah. I'm going to wrap this up. This was awesome, because
you didn't have any fun, did you?
Wait, what we need to do is I need to, again, this is a type of thing that maybe morning chats will become a group chat. So I can have like 6 people. Well, I do it on StreamYards. And we'd have like 6 people up, and we could all, like, we'd have 6 different people come up, and each week.
Do you like the smell of the sharks in the harbour with melted butter?
Butter. Park the car and have it yard. Okay, so I'm going to be making a game.
No game.
So it's going to be a big cardboard game that we're going to play. Everybody can earn points. The points will get you something. But, woohoo! This is going to be fun, guys.
How are you going to make them do that from here?
No.
Be electronically.
No, they'll be able to, like, you guys will have, like, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, and it'll come down, and you guys have to get into the jackpot. All right, so I'm going to build that, but I have to get that ball before the cat does. All right.
I think we're under the couch.
You know what? Let's end this by, you guys make us happy. You guys really do.
This was pretty
awesome.
happy. Look at the smile.
This was a great
This was a great
conversation.
Live. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. It was
and
fun to hear.
we have some more Fun World videos coming out.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. We're gonna try to do a Jackbox live possibly this week. I think it could be Tuesday.
Everybody in my house is excited.
It could be Tuesday. That's what we're gonna launch. It'll be a surprise, but we're gonna film it from his house. So this should be pretty fun.
Now you're giving away the surprise.
Shh. All right. Later, guys. Lots of love. Stay safe and stay happy.
Happy Sunday.
Or not
Stay
happy.
happy, right.
It's up to you.
Enjoy whatever you like.